Thanks everyone for your patience. Apologies, had to bail on a monitor and shift to a different monitor here. But we're ready to look at some charts here. It's Monday, March 6th, 2:25 p.m. Eastern. And just gonna do a quick rundown here looking at Bitcoin and the crypto names, some of the bounces we saw play out, but overall Bitcoin not doing a whole lot is the main takeaway of the last, significant amount of trading over the last few days. S&P 500, significant bounce Thursday, Friday, a bit of follow through this morning, but a bearish reversal candle forming on the daily time frame. We've been pulling back for the last couple of hours, and it's looking like we are going to shape up daily consolidation here sooner rather than later. We know that the bulls will have to confirm a daily uptrend if we're going to see any kind of follow through for this bounce. And it's a weekly higher low being set, but we know not to trust this weekly higher low unless the bulls confirm the daily uptrend. So that's going to be key on the week. Can SPY and QQQ confirm daily uptrends after next consolidation from here? Bitcoin is pulling back with the broader market as well the last few hours, but you can see ever since the dump to end last week, we're doing nothing here. Nothing is going on whatsoever. Anybody trying to trade Bitcoin on the short-term time frames is getting chopped up in a big way. And it's definitely a patient game at this point because Bitcoin is a daily bear flag. And the burden is on bulls to prove to us that Bitcoin is not a daily bear flag. And to do so, I would need to see the price get, 23,000 and beyond if that were going to be the case. And at this point in time, that is not the case. So bears still have full control on Bitcoin. Checking in on the crypto stocks. So I created this thumbnail. I didn't create it, but the thumbnail was created for this live stream a few hours ago. And Coin and MARA and all these bulls were standing out in a big way, but we have given back a significant bull move on the morning. These crypto names, Coin leading the way, had a bull move of almost 10%, and we broke a tightening daily range bullish by getting over 67.50. And so it was, full steam ahead for the crypto stocks this morning. And they've done nothing but just completely give it all back. And at this point, Coin is down 8. We gave back the whole move. So obviously major red flags there. A lot of space for an hourly lower high to be the result of the next bounce from here. We look at Riot, did the same thing. MARA, just ton of strength, notable strength, and then gave it all back and have seen notable weakness since then. I had a little bit of a frustrating day because I was shorting Riot and I was basing my Riot short on this 5-minute bounce, looking for the lower high and needing the bears to confirm the 5-minute downtrend. And I stopped out right there. And in hindsight, it was zoomed out and it was a 15-minute lower high and then a downtrend that led to that shift in momentum. But I stopped out, break even pretty much, right at the top before we rolled over into the weakness. And we then would have had 5% plus pullback and I would have had, my day maker, but stopped out. That's the way it goes, but have to recognize that frustration because I haven't really taken any trades since then because I was frustrated. And the last thing I want to be doing is trading while frustrated. So Bitcoin, what do we need to see? Again, as I mentioned, got to break the bounce high, 22,650. And even after that, we've got to go above 23,000. Otherwise, this is just waiting for another leg down. And if we look at the 12-hour time frame on Bitcoin, the 12-hour EMA 12 resistance is dropping down. And again, we didn't respond to the broader market bounce at all Thursday and Friday. And we didn't respond at all in any meaningful way this morning. And so again, it's just a clear daily bear flag. So have to be proven otherwise. ETH is a daily bear flag as well. If we see a bear break of 1547, the daily bear flag confirms and we'll zoom out and look to weekly support of 1462. Same thing with Bitcoin. If we confirm the daily bear flag, it's all about the weekly support of 21.3. And if these weekly support levels break, that's the monthly consolidation then underway. ETH BTC sideways the last 4 days, showing us there's no notable difference between ETH and Bitcoin. We're just patiently waiting for that sideways range to break to give us some short-term clarity. Litecoin, FTX getting sued. That news is old. FTX getting sued by Grayscale. I heard about that days ago. So Litecoin Daily bear flag is testing support, and LTC BTC is close to breaking this weekly equilibrium bearish. Again, if this weekly tightening range breaks bear, we're going to be looking for Litecoin to be a lead bear name in March and for the foreseeable future. So keep a close eye on Litecoin. Litecoin already confirmed a 2-day head and shoulders pattern. And there was a live stream a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, where I was talking about the ideal scenario for a Litecoin bear was to bounce, set this lower high, confirm the downtrend. But the bears did want to see LTC BTC break that support at the same time. And that has not happened yet. We are still holding those lows. So we're close to having the ideal scenario for Litecoin bears, but only if 375 breaks. That level has to break if we're going to see the Litecoin bears get their ideal scenario. OP, so we did have some climax bounces. So I was away on vacation, didn't have my alerts set, but just know because these alerts, the super stack alert is essentially based from my brain that we then put into code. So this was on Saturday. OP keeping an eye out for the super stack oversold as lots of time frames are getting extreme. The hourly RSI is in the teens. I don't have my alerts on, but I'm assuming the super stacks are firing or close to it. And on Trader Pro here, we've got the overbought super stack on OP right up near the top. And the oversold was triggered right at that low in the 220s. We had a nice 10% bounce from there. But just an example of the alerts that can still be utilized. The super stack is when all of our time frames on down the line, 4-hour, hourly, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, they're all at extremes at the same time. That's when we have confidence that there's at least a short-term move that's going to take place from that triggering. So that was a nice signal. And again, that's the only time I look for a bounce. If it's not a back burner, the only time I'm going to look for an oversold bounce is when it is super stack, because I'm not going to be fighting the trend. If it's not a back burner and if we're in a downtrend on the daily, the 12-hour, the 4-hour, the hourly, I have no interest in a bounce. But if it's a super stack and we are at the extremes, and there was also a factor where coin was halted coin wasn't live, they were doing maintenance, and when coin came back on, it was the last of any sells triggering, and that helped mark the bottom. Coin came online, something like right there. And so, again, the hourly RSI down in the teens, and a nice bounce followed through from there. And Gala did the same thing as well, 4-hour super stack. So go to Gala on the 4-hour. Triggered a couple other times that ended up, with not any meaningful bounce follow through, enough to position break even, but this one getting the follow through. And again, just extremes all at the same time. So keep an eye out for super stacks, whether it's through the Alert System Trader Pro or whether it's just your own observations, both to the upside and the downside. You can't get more extreme than that. And it's possible, that RSI levels remain extreme for a prolonged period of time, but usually you got to be in blue sky breakout or you got to have a news event. If there's no news event and you're that oversold on that many time frames, you look for that move to take place. You look for that bounce to take place or that top to be set. So Gala at this point in time, daily bounce underway. There are a lot of falling wedges, not a lot. There's a few falling wedges to be watching. Gala's looking for a weekly higher low. We had a stair step up. The stair step bear break was at 5 pennies, and we've now had a stair step down for over 20%. Sometimes it's as simple as stair steps. But we're looking for the weekly higher low, and we're watching the daily falling wedge. So I'd be keeping an eye on this right here, and if we reject and set a lower high compared to 4216, then this will continue to tighten up, and we will look for this tightening range to break bull, and once it does, if it does, then that's going to be our weekly higher low shaping up. And OP has something, nope, it wasn't OP. There's a couple other names that have that similar falling wedge on the daily. There it is, APT. So APT, potential falling wedge. I'm less confident in the APT falling wedge. Why? Because we're still right down near support, whereas the Gala falling wedge, we already have the daily bounce underway. And Gala is standing out as one of the stronger bounces over the last 24 hours. So I trust the falling wedge on Gala a little bit more, but there is a possible one here on APT as well. And again, it's the same thing. We're looking for a weekly higher low, stair step up, stair step down. Nope, take that back. Not a perfect stair step. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about on some of these things, Google ChartGuys Super Stack. Google ChartGuys Stair Step. We got videos for everything. But APT is looking for, it's testing weekly EMA 12. So watching to see, first off, we got to break short-term resistance to get a daily bounce going, but then we have to break that falling wedge bullish. So not a pattern on APT that is, glaring at me, but just something to keep an eye on over the next few days. Again, I'm more interested in the Gala falling wedge attempt due to the relative strength here. And Gala divided by BTC, we can see it's doing that same bounce, and it too is looking for a weekly higher low to try and form. So keeping an eye on Gala, especially if the Bitcoin bulls are able to prove anything to us. But so far, certainly Bitcoin unable to prove anything to us. Checking in on Grayscale. So Grayscale is holding its gains a little bit better. Hourly consolidation is underway, but you can see Coin gave it all back. And MARA and Riot, they came all the way back to the low of the day. And GBTC did not come back to the low of the day. So a little bit of a difference there. I find that GBTC generally trades relative to the NASDAQ a bit less than these miners and Coin. They have a little bit more correlation to the NASDAQ. But we can say Grayscale is currently holding on better than Bitcoin on the hourly time frame. Long story short, don't be overtrading in this market environment. There's definitely some altcoins that still have volatility, as we just saw, 10% bounces on some of these names from their extremes. But if we're trading sideways and chopping around and you're, just having small red trade after small red trade and stopping out a lot, that means you're overtrading. So remember that it's okay to take a step back and slow your trading way down until there's clarity. And again, the example that I always give is whenever I see wide ranges, I'm trading very actively. Riot is the most profitable stock that I've traded this year. And it was this and this. And here, I'm not trading it because the opportunity there compared to the opportunity here, it's not comparable. And if I were trading it in the same way, I would be giving back my gains. So recognize when we are breaking tightening ranges and seeing price discovery and volatility, and volume's a clue for that. And then recognize when ranges are constricting, and volume's a clue for that as well. When volume's dropping off and the ranges are tightening, there is less opportunity. So right now, Riot is a 2-day tightening range, and I know that there's going to be not a whole lot of trading opportunity from here until we break this tightening range. There's definitely still some day trading volatility, but if we're talking swing trading, we want to wait for the break at this point. We also have to keep in mind, Coin just gave us a fake out breakout. I wouldn't be trading Bitcoin. Not enough volatility in either direction. It's really just altcoins at this point. Mana stood out with a little bit of strength this morning. Let's check on Mana real quick. It's a solid move up. Daily, still a downtrend. That's another one. So again, here's another potential falling wedge. If we're going to set a weekly high or low, I'd be keeping an eye on this. We have to confirm a 4-hour trend change for bounce follow through. But we are watching for a weekly high or low compared to where we came from. So just a couple names getting a little bit of attention. It's not enough attention for me to rush into long positions, but it's enough for me to say, okay, it's a potential falling wedge. If the falling wedge continues to shape up through this week, then I'm going to be watching for a potential play off of a low. I want to see a level where I say that's either the low of this falling wedge or I am wrong. The way that I trade falling wedges, again, if you Google ChartGuys falling wedges or ChartGuys wedges, in-depth video, but the way that I trade wedges is a day trader constantly flipping. Bear break with no follow through, I enter long. Sell half on a bounce. Another bear break, no follow through, re-enter the half. Sell half on the bounce. When it's on the daily time frame, it takes a lot longer for this to all play out. So unless you are actively, I don't think I've ever traded a falling wedge actively as a swing trade. I think it would be a little bit more difficult. I've never done that personally. So if I'm looking for a swing trade to be a falling wedge, Again, I can't be doing the maneuvering. I could, but it would take a lot of effort. I would much rather say that's either the low or I am wrong and make a play off a level with a bit of wiggle room on that stop loss. So again, just one more example. The ideal scenario, if I'm trading the Gala falling wedge potential, I want to see a rejection on another daily lower high, and then I want to look for an entry to try and shape up the trend change, and confirming the daily trend change could align with breaking the falling wedge bullish. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Grayscale sued the SEC. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of different news. Right? They sued the SEC. So yeah, that's the recent headline. Something to do with that is what I saw. I guess there hasn't been much recent with regards to that. So Alameda is suing Grayscale. Okay, that is news. That is new. You are correct. Apologies. Hit those thumbs ups, please. We've got 58 so far. Goal to get to 100 by the end. I got about 5 to 10 more minutes here. Checking in on the SPY bounce attempt. Trying to hold the low of the day. Trading sideways here. Coin, we got the 5-minute EMA 12 resistance as a clear guide. What's the lowest time frame for a super stack? I probably wouldn't do anything under the hourly. The longer the time frame, the more conviction. Again, this is probably our best probability alerts are the super stacks on long-term time frames. Best probability in terms of high probability of playing out. And you look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, and we definitely had some early firings. So here's a good example. So these obviously fired too soon on the super stack daily time frame. When you trade sideways for a significant period of time, RSI then becomes very sensitive to price movement. So if you trade sideways and then get a bull move or a bear break, your RSI is going to go overbought or oversold very quickly. The best backburners, the best oversold bounces, and the best super stacks and the best backburners are when you're going from a straight move up to a straight move down. And the RSI is going from overbought to then going oversold. That's why I like to see that kind of waterfall drop to get to oversold conditions. Because again, if you're trading sideways and then you get a trigger of the oversold conditions, oftentimes it can trigger too early. Because again, that RSI becomes very sensitive if it's leaving a sideways range. We had that weekly super stack, the first one ever for Bitcoin, was near that bottom before that couple month bounce. But as far as it's the 4 hour and beyond that's the best for a swing trade. If you're looking for, a day trade scalp, the hourly super stacks can definitely be worthwhile. But 4 hour, daily, and weekly for swing trading perspective has the higher probabilities. Sushi. So Sushi broke the 2-day equilibrium that we were watching bearish, where it was the higher low, lower high, tried to hold support, and it ended up being a bear flag. So we zoom out because the weekly consolidation continues. And it's monthly consolidation underway at this point. So we bounced on the monthly. We set a lower high at 208. We came down and we held 85 cents. So we had a low, high of the bounce, pretty much a double bottom. Now another lower high. So we're just tightening up here. Let's go to the 2-week. And the 2 week's nice and smooth. So Sushi, long term, high, low, lower high, and now we're trying for a higher low compared to 90 cents. Still very clearly in a long-term downtrend, rejecting from 2-week EMA 12 resistance consistently over the last couple of years. Have to get over that with a clear uptrend if things are going to shift. Big picture. You know, we've had some nice volatility and some nice bounces in between, but if we're going to put in a longer term bottom, when I did that long-term analysis, remember I was looking at the 4-month time frame? If we're going to get a 4-month bounce going, we've got to get over the 2-week EMA 12 resistance. And names like NVDA, this is now stocks, that's what all crypto names are hoping. Man, I hope my 4-month chart looks like that. That's a big move off the lows. But a lot of these crypto names have a ton of work still to do. 2-week downtrend, monthly downtrend, have to change those trends. Is Atom out of a falling wedge? I don't like Atom as a falling wedge. Let's see. If I were going to like it as a falling wedge, I mean, you got to be cautious to not be overdrawing falling wedges. The key thing for me on a falling wedge is it's got to break support with a lack of follow through. And so I look at Atom and I see the break of 1267 support. That's a lot of follow through from that bear break. Where if you look at Gala, 3.8, we drop down. So it's a bear break. So here's the support. We break support for one candle into a couple days of a bounce. And then we break support for 1 or 2 candles into a couple days of a bounce. And if you look at Atom, we're breaking support and we're getting days of follow through. So you can draw a falling wedge here like I just kind of did on the 12-hour. But again, it's a bit less conviction just because of that. You know, here's the bear break of the 12-hour and we get 5% plus follow through, and it's just not the ideal setup for me. Give me a bunch of bear breaks that lack follow through. Meta, stock again, but Meta on the 4-hour was a falling wedge leading into the bull move at the end of last week. Every little bear break, very short-lived. And just look at the break. We double bottom, we break support by a few pennies, we break support by about 1%. You want the breaks to lead right into a bounce for a wedge to be shaping up. DYDX, 4-hour tightening range, so low, lower, high, higher, low, just a little 4-hour equilibrium. We would have to get over 250 for the daily bounce to be underway. There's a lot of space for a daily lower high to form. There's a base of support at 230. We broke it with 0 follow through. We can consider that a double bottom. So it's just a question now, are we about to confirm a weekly downtrend by breaking that support level, or can bulls defend that support? And we know that the result of the next bounce is likely going to be a daily lower high. Once it gets going, we can measure our fib retracement size to gauge whether it's a bear flag or not. And the simple way to view it is if EMA 12 is resistance, very often that's your guide, and it's a potential 12-hour bear flag. I should say it's a potential daily bear flag if daily EMA 12 remains resistance. Because essentially, daily EMA 12 is at that 382 retracement right now, and it's only going to drop a little bit more each day here. VELO, I assume, does not have enough volume for me to be looking at it. Sub penny stock. So we're looking for weekly consolidation is on the verge of taking place. If 729 breaks, weekly consolidation is underway. Here's one that is a potential. Let's see if we got a potential falling wedge. Let's go 6-hour time frame. Don't often use it, but just seeing a little bit of clarity here. So again, trying to shape up a falling wedge. One thing that's also key for a falling wedge is when you're breaking bull, you've got to see increasing volume. You've got to see shorts covering and bulls going long, putting in a lot of volume for that move to take place off the lows. Coin bears are just pouring it on here. QQQ just keeps getting rejected from 5-minute EMA 12. And Bitcoin down at the low of its pullback. Preferred platform when trading crypto? I don't have one. I mean, I'm still on Coinbase at this point, reluctantly. We just don't have good... There's no good trading exchanges for crypto in the US that meets any kind of criteria of security in terms of not having an FTX happen. It's just Coinbase is the only game in town that has some kind of legitimacy on that front, but it's so clearly not designed for traders or by traders. It's designed for the masses, not active traders. All right, I got 5 more minutes. Got to wrap it up here. Gala 12-hour oversold. Yep, so just another time frame. BAT. Weekly consolidation underway. We will be scouting a weekly higher low. Again, these weekly stair steps, just really nice signals. Take some off the table or short it there, and you get a win. Obviously not every time, but many times... Stair steps, it seems almost too simple, but there are many times when you're in an extreme move. I mean, I shorted SPY, again, back to stocks, but I shorted SPY and had a good couple of weeks as a bear because it was a 7-week stair step that broke bearish. And so that helped me, profit for an entire week as a bear, just using that one little signal. I know we're due for weekly consolidation. We've been grinding higher for 7 weeks in a row. And then once it broke bear, we had a decent amount of follow through. Love you too, Jojo. Trades within my IRA. It's not a Roth IRA. I have a SEP IRA. Not sure what to go into detail. I swing trade in my IRA. Tax-free? Well, tax-free if I don't withdraw. But yeah, I just trade in my IRA. Eventually, if I keep max contributing to my IRA, that'll be my only trading account. And I won't be accruing any taxes on it. Or I should say, any capital gains that will be taxed on it. But for now, I have a lot more capital in my other accounts, which is why I still focus on day trading in those other accounts. Because if I don't need the cash, if I don't need the capital, then, it would be much better to be trading where I'm not getting taxed. Obviously, I can't use it until I'm 65 or whatever, unless I want that penalty when I withdraw it. But that would be the ideal way to do it. If I don't need the trading income for a while, trading often in my IRA to not rack up the tax bill. These crypto stocks are in trouble just in terms of, the SEC is watching them and they didn't put out their earnings and they canceled their conference calls. So certainly keeping an eye on the bear side of things here. All right. Last look at Hex. I really dislike the liquidity and the volume on this name. But we got a little run up as they're releasing their whatever. Weekly stair step. Let's just make mental note. Hex is a weekly stair step. Let's check back in throughout March. When that weekly stair step breaks, let's see the amount of bear follow through that we get from that. Same thing like this drop. Weekly stair step drop. It breaks bull at 404. We don't hit a fresh low from that point, and we go up 60 whatever percent. Utilize stair steps. Posting a link for Trader Pro if you are interested in the super stack and other alerts. And again, check out stair step was the theme of the video, so we'll go TheChartGuys stair step on Google. Post that link as well. Here we're going to be looking at the stair step trading strategy. There he is. All right, appreciate you watching. 93 likes. I know 7 of you will step it up and drive it home. Don't forget to do good things. We'll check back in. Again, bears are comfortable, especially with these crypto stocks rocketing up and giving it all back. Bitcoin's a potential daily bear flag. SPY and QQQ shaping up bearish candles on the daily, potentially shaping up daily consolidation. Make the bulls prove it to you. Make the bulls prove to you that you should be looking in that direction. Because right now, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, we are in a downtrend on the daily, the 4-hour. Well, no, I take that back. We're sideways on the 4-hour, but we're in downtrends on a lot of the short-term time frames. The only trend that is in an uptrend right now that is meaningful is the weekly, still clinging to a higher low, still clinging to an uptrend. And if we lose 21.3, we're back to being in a downtrend on every single time frame for Bitcoin. So just keep that in mind. All about 21.3 for the month of March, in my opinion. Thanks again.